Okay, our official disclaimer. The Pharmacy Free Lifestyle Podcast is intended solely to provide information and insights on promoting general health and wellness through natural lifestyle choices. It is not designed to diagnose, treat, cure, or medicate any specific disease or medical condition. The content shared is for educational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If a listener does have an existing medical condition or concern, we encourage you to consult with a qualified disease care provider before making any changes to their disease management regimen.
Hello, welcome to the very first Pharmacy Free Lifestyle Podcast, starring Jon Rehorst.
Hi, everybody.
And I'm Jon Rehorst. I'm going to be the host, and I'm also the subject of a lot of what we're talking about. Lauren, before we get going, why don't you let everybody know what you do and what brought you here?
Hi there. Again, I'm Jon Rehorst. I'm a licensed acupuncturist and licensed massage therapist for 13 years. And most of what I work with in clinic is many patients who have challenges and issues that stem from what we're going to be talking about in most of our episodes here. Help them have an easier time at life, not have to struggle so hard, and figure out why they're working with what they have.
So, Lauren is, her clinic is associated with the VA, and there's a lot of gentlemen and ladies that go in there that are about my age, and they have a lot of the same issues. They've worked really hard, or they've had a blue-collar job, or maybe in their time in the military, they've sustained injuries that have manifested themselves and gotten worse over a period of time. And quite frankly, that's me. So real quick, I am Lauren's husband. I am 17 years older than her, and I made a promise on our wedding day that I would be an active, caring, fulfilling husband. And the last couple of years, I've struggled just to walk across our living room floor. So real quick, had an issue, had a cracked a vertebrae, didn't even know it, in a gym accident, and over time it's manifested itself in a number of different ways. I have a pinched nerve in my right shoulder, my left hip. It makes it almost sometimes impossible for it to walk. And because at COVID we decided to change careers, I stopped walking 5 to 8 miles a day inspecting properties and basically became sedentary. And over that period of time, I went from about 225, and I topped out at about 300 pounds, somewhere between 294 and 300 pounds. In that process, I also found out for the first time my A1C was in the pre-diabetic range, and I also knew that I was starting to suffer from hypertension and massively high blood pressure, all of which go right back to what we're going to be talking about today. And at no point in time did anybody in the medical community say, hey, listen, you're just kind of getting off the beaten path here as far as your health, and if you do a couple of things, you can reel it in. Basically what they did is they pulled out the applications for the various medications that I would need, didn't they?
Yep.
Right? So with Lauren's help, we have put together a program, and what we're going to do is we're going to high level just kind of walk through it today, and then also high level walk through some of our results. And over the course of the next couple of months, what we're going to do is give you an update once a week. How's John doing? Where's he at? What have we learned? What are some of the things that a healthy Lauren has incorporated to make her body, her life a little bit easier? And that's going to be our primary subject. So why don't we just get into right away what the program is.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about where we were. I weighed 294 pounds, and I did a video of it. You can see it. I had my belly hanging over the top of my shorts. I wasn't able to walk. I was limping profusely. I still did the work around the farm, but everything was, I'd work for about 20 minutes, and then I had to sit. I wasn't able to complete things like I normally did. So in my mind, my life was headed nowhere, right? I had almost given up. And we decided that it was best that we put together a program and we start working the program, because at 60 years old, it wasn't going to just get better next year. I wasn't going to just wake up one morning and be ready to go like in the past. My body was on a decline. So the first thing we needed to do is figure out the diet, right?
Yes.
And we've been given diets before, the one size fits all diet. The assumption is that if you're trying to accomplish X, this is what you need to eat. And a really good example of that is the food pyramid. We're not really big fans of the food pyramid here in the Rehorst household.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Why do you think that is, Lauren?
Well, 75% of that diet is carbohydrate, and it's relatively very low protein, low fat, lots of carbs that people aren't going to use.
Yep. So at the end of the day, let's talk about real quick. There's a couple of things that you need to understand as it relates to what we learned from the Stelo product, which is insulin resistance. What's actually going on with your fuel system in your body. So why don't you explain how the body prioritizes fuel?
So your body's going to choose glucose first. It's like a little kid. It's going to eat the candy. And that's what insulin does, is push that glucose into the cell so that you can have it for energy.
So if your body is taking in too much glucose, it also produces glucose. We'll get into a lot of that later on. We don't want to get bogged down in the science. Your body has so much glucose in it that the insulin has gotten to the point where it can't do its job. So basically, those mornings where you wake up and you feel really fatigued and you say, wait a minute, I had some slow burning carbs last night. I should feel 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Now, there's a percentage of people out there that works for, right? But the majority of people, no. There's two statistics that prove that this information that we're sharing is really, really important to the people that live in our country. One is 88% of the people that live in the United States suffer from some metabolic deficiency. Yes. All right? The fuel ain't getting into the engine is basically what's happening. Yeah. And because of that, it also, that insulin resistance is the starting point for many of the chronic diseases that our country suffers from. Cancer, all right? Hypertension, heart disease, high blood pressure can all be traced back to you properly fueling your body. So we said to ourselves, you know what, if we're going to go through all this work, we might as well do it right. And we installed the Stelo, yes. Right? So what does the Stelo system do?
The Stelo product is a continuous glucose monitor. So most people know about pricking your finger to get a glucose reading, your blood sugar, but that's right now only when you prick your finger. The Stelo product is it's measuring it all the time, and you can have an app. You can see what your blood sugar is doing by the minute based on what you've eaten or done or felt. It's super cool. It's
super cool, and honestly, if you really care about what's going into your body, you realize really quick, all right, that there's a lot of things that you've been told that are quite frankly bullshit. Excuse my language, but they're not true. So I'm going to share with you my frustration and what really topped this whole thing off. So we decided we're going to lose some weight, and where I always go, and I know that I need to go, is I lose weight fairly, I don't want to say easily, but steadily on the keto diet. Mm-hmm. All right. If I'm eating primarily fats and proteins and staying away from carbohydrates, especially processed carbohydrates, all right, my body tends to react fairly well. Mm-hmm. All right. So we started this at the end of September, beginning of October, and through January, I was strict like you've never seen before. All right. I incorporated one thing that I was taught. All right. But other than that, I was strict. And the one thing that I was taught was, if you get to the point where you're feeling kind of dizzy and you don't feel really good, what you probably want to do is you want to do a refeed. You want to get yourself some oatmeal, or you want to get yourself some really good fruit. Well, if losing weight on the ketogenic diet is your primary goal, that's bullshit. All right? And we're going to come back and tell you why. So what happens on the keto diet? Start the keto diet, got what, 3.5 months. I'm strict as all get out. and I step on the scale and I've lost 4 pounds, right? I'm not a big scale guy. If I obsess about the scale, I tend to do things wrong, and that's more about managing water weight than it is about actually. So I figured by being disciplined that it would help me out. Well, this is when we decided to put the Stelo in, and I put it on, and for a guy who is eating keto, let's talk about the ranges again. Your blood sugar should be somewhere between 70 and 140. If you're eating keto, you're really close to that 70 if you're doing it right. So what did it tell me? It told me that with an average blood glucose level of 124, that my system was pretty messed up and I needed to do some work. And it may take more than just a couple of weeks of eating keto in order to fix that system, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? So tell the folks a little bit about the fuel source, the prioritization of fuel.
Well, your body's going to want to use the glucose first, and then it'll move to the fat that you've got stored.
Yep. So if you're not exercising a lot, which I couldn't do because I was in a lot of pain, all right, what's going to happen is that glucose stays in your system, and your body, the insulin is going to take that glucose first. Now, when that glucose runs out, that's when it starts utilizing the fat cells, and that's when you start cooking with peanut oil. That's when you start seeing the weight drop off with minimal activity, because your body becomes a fat burning furnace, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we didn't know that. Here's one of the fallacies that kept me from attaining what I was trying to attain, and it's kind of funny. All right, so I go, I don't know, was it 2.5 months? Steak, buttered, up. And one of the things that I was told is that when you're in the keto diet, you may end up having to do an occasional refeed. Eat the food that's good for you, right? Well, so what I would do is I would go 5, 6, 7 days, and then you start feeling a little weak. And what that is your actual body switching over to burning fat. You're going to feel like you have the flu. But when it's happening, you feel like all your energy is just gone, and then I'm hypoglycemic. I need to get some sugar in me. I need to get something to kick my system up. Is that the right word? Hypoglycemic?
Yeah, that's what you're feeling.
Yeah. But the reality of it is, what was happening was I was transitioning. And how did I find that out? Stelo. I went 2 to 3 weeks. I got myself down to about 85, and I was so excited I decided to celebrate because I was feeling a little tired. So I had a bowl of oatmeal with 2 handfuls of raspberry and some of that fake sugar on it. None of them had anything other than straight, and this is healthy stuff. This is the cut oats that Lauren uses. And my blood sugar went to 175, and the next time it saw 85 was nearly 4 days later. So my refeed basically put my blood glucose right back to where it was when I started, and then I started the slow process of taking it back down again. And guess what I probably would have done when I hit that keto flu? Boy, I'm feeling hypoglycemic. Now I just look at my Stelo. I know exactly where I'm at. If I've got some anxiety that's pushing my liver to produce additional glucose, I know how to handle it, right? Because all I have to do is look at it. And in the last 6 weeks, what I've done is I've eaten properly and went in for a blood test last week. And what happened, Lauren?
Well, it appears that your numbers are normal.
I no longer am pre-diabetic. I was probably in the 6s, 5.9 for sure. 5.9 is a pre-diabetic level. 5.7 is the threshold. And in just 6 weeks, I went from 5.9 or higher to 5.5. And I anticipate on being in the 4s. And it's just because I've been paying attention to the food, and anything that I thought was okay, I can now confirm, hey, I can't refeed. Hey, it's not good for me to have pre-sweetened, unsweetened, but using the face sweetener, the pre-workouts, push me up to 120. And here's the crazy thing, and this is the part that really opened my eyes. You sit down and people talk to you, you know, stress is a really big issue when it comes to glucose and diabetics. And when you hear it said, you think, well, you put stuff in my body, it's going to shoot it up. I can tell you this. I put brown sugar on ice cream just to see what it would do. And that was nothing compared to a stressful work phone call that I got like the next day. So I ate actual brown sugar out of the bag on ice cream, and my blood sugar shot up to like 165. I got a bad phone call the next day that created a little stress around product availability, and my blood sugar went to 195. I'm starting to understand my body, and we're putting a program together specifically for that. Yes. That's the cool part about the Stelo. So Lauren is in much better shape than I am. Lauren, let me ask you a question. What was the coolest thing you learned? Because she is, as you can see, she's got the mark of the Stelo right here. All right?
There it is.
Lauren's in great shape. And why don't you share with us probably the biggest thing that you learned?
Well, what I think is really cool that the Stelo will show you for sure is there's all these things that we've been told about how your blood sugar should behave, but seeing it in numbers is really interesting. So John had mentioned it in the beginning about the handfuls of pretzels to keep your metabolism happy during the day. So I would eat a serving of pretzels, which would put my blood sugar, spike it up to 170. The highest thing that I would eat, that's what it would do. The pretzels to 170, and I ate a donut, and it was only 150. So it's so interesting to this healthy choice, not that a donut's a healthy choice, but the healthy choice that is commonly recommended to diabetics as a snack, pretzels, is no good for them. Even someone with a healthy insulin response, to respond like that, I mean, to give that to a diabetic, it just doesn't seem to make good sense to us.
And it feeds into one of the things that we say, and when they come up, we bring them up. How many times have you heard the best thing that you can do is eat 5, 6, 7 times a day? Well, here's the problem with that. If what you're eating is 70% carbohydrates like the rest of America, you're eating bread, you're eating pastas, you're eating the inexpensive stuff that goes with the stuff that you need, that God intended you to put in your body. This is what happens. You never give your insulin a rest. It is constantly working, and it's overworked. It's where pancreatitis starts coming in, wearing out the system, the inflammation alone. I lost inches. I only lost 13 pounds, but initially I lost so many inches because all that is your body is swollen. That's where the pain comes from. And like Lauren said, it's so cool to see it on the phone, right? You look at your app and you say, all right, well, and so I have one app telling me that because I'm 13 hours into my fasting, that I am entering ketosis.
Yes, but were you?
Then I go over to the other app, and because I had a bowl of oatmeal the day before, I look at it and it says, nah, dude, you're at 135. You're about as far from ketosis as you can be. But if I went in to see a medical doctor, they'd say, blood sugar's at 135. You're okay. All right? You just eating, you're okay. So it starts allowing you to take the information that's about your body and applying it. So the one size fits all food pyramid? Nah.
Or my plate.
All right? Okay, so let's take a second and talk about the next step. So this is something that we stumbled upon, and normally we're not into things that seem like they're a fad. All right, and I say that it's hard to explain this, but we had a really good friend, a friend that I've gotten to know over the course of the last couple of years say, hey, listen, I notice that you're in pain. I've been working with these Lifewave patches, and I don't know, dude, it's doing something for me. And boy, if it could help your hip, I'd sure like to see it help you. And my buddy Gabe and his wonderful wife Christy got us involved in the Lifewave patch selling. So truthfully, it's an MLM, and I can only say this: if I were starting a business today and I had to figure out how to put together a distribution system using the internet and people, I'd do an MLM, because that's quite frankly the smartest way of doing it. It's an incredible business, but at the end of the day, it has all the stigmas behind it. So when Gabe gave this to me, I thought, you know what? Give it a shot. What do you know? And as it turns out, what happened?
Well, it worked, and it worked in a way that was surprising and amazing to me. We've tried a lot of things to help with Jon's pain, and this was the most effective that we had come across. And as he said, we were kind of skeptical. It's often hard to believe things, that.
Here's one of them right now. All right, this is Lifewave Ice Wave, Lifewave Ice Wave, right? Mm-hmm. And I gotta tell you something. This morning I have arthritis. My grandfather was Polish. He called it arthritis, right? I had arthritis in my right hand. I couldn't grip like this morning. If I was walking one of the dogs, I would have had the right between these two fingers right here. So I put this on, and within 20 minutes, I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. All right. I know that it works. All right. And I know that I'm receiving the benefit of it because I'm able to physically do things that I wasn't able to do. And this is why this is important. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. There's 3 things that we're going to suggest outside of the Stelo and the diet and everything. With the patches, and whether you do them or not, you should also adhere to these 3 things. 1, drink a lot of water. Part of the problem in the world, the average person's dehydrated.
Yep.
So my wife's a practitioner. Whenever I tell her she's in pain, she looks at me like I'm a 12-year-old and said, did you have something to drink today? And most of the time, the answer would be no. All right? So stay hydrated. 2, I'm an alcoholic. I am 14 years sober. I don't drink, and it's easy for me to say that, but it's good not to drink. And what did we find out about metabolism in alcohol?
It's going to your body's going to metabolize the toxin first, which gets in the way of any weight loss efforts that you may have.
So I was drinking at the time. I worked out with a guy named BJ Gadur, and he came up to me one day and he says, when you drink, it shuts your metabolism down for 24 hours. And I was like, yeah, bullshit, right? Then I put a Stelo on. I don't drink, but I had brown sugar with ice cream. Guess what? It stays in your system for a while, because that's all alcohol is a different type of sugar. So it really inhibits what you're trying to get done. And that's, again, go back to, don't put 10 days working your butt off eating nothing but eggs, butter, and meat. Sounds easy, but you're going to miss that crunchy stuff. And you get to the end of the 10 days and you want to reward yourself with some of the crap that you were eating before, don't even bother doing it, because all you're doing is just restarting the entire thing. And I'm saying that because I did it, all right? That is one of the downfalls of the mainstream refeed thought process. Just, it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, when you're changing your diet around, honestly, one of the hardest parts about that is disentangling your emotional connections with the food choices. And when you're still rewarding your good efforts with a filthy, nasty meal, it's amazing tasting. But as we found with Jon's blood work, it's not pushing you forward towards your goal.
So I showed you this. I have one other example of the patches. We're going to invite some of our friends to participate because they understand the product and what it does. But anybody who's known me knows that I have a serious nasal issue. All right, I've broken this thing more time than politicians break their promises, right? This thing is so messed up. And because of it, the last 6 years after the last time I broke it, all right, I have used anywhere from 1 to 1.5 of these a day. And people, oh my God, that's so bad for you. You know what else is really bad for you? Not breathing. I mean, seriously felt like somebody shoved cement up my nose, and it hurts. You see how the whole thing kind of incorporates? I'm not able to work out at a level that I need to work out at because I can't get air in my system. So what I do is I get exhausted real fast, and I don't get the benefits. I don't burn off the glucose, and I sit down, and 3 days later, I'm just fatter, right? Versus I put that X39 patch on the back of my on this point back here. I'm going to have Lauren explain it as an acupuncturist, but it's essentially looks just like that. I put it on my back, and immediately my nose just starts running like crazy. 2 days of that stuff. This one right here, Lauren bought this for me 6 weeks ago. It's one of 2. It's still almost full. I use it in the morning because we have 6 dogs running around here, and they still kind of clip my allergies a little bit. But other than that, I rarely use it. Mm-hmm. What's that point back there?
It's called DO 14, Governing Vessel 14. And the reason that we use that point and why it's important is that every channel, every highway that runs up and down your body where your energy flows crosses at that point. And so by using that point, we get to affect the entire body.
So drinking a lot of water, not drinking, and here's the other thing. Boy, as soon as I was able to move, I started moving. So I looked at my phone, and prior to starting with the patches, I was walking about 1,200 steps a day. Today, I'm up to about 7,500. I've had days where I've walked anywhere from 10 to 15,000 in this period. So I always tell people, I don't have the pain anymore. I'm just very sore. I haven't used these muscles. So the whole thing, if you take a look at the package, this is what we've done. So let's summarize a little bit. All right? First thing we do is we talk to you about the Stelo. If that's something that you're interested in doing, feel free to send us a text message. If you're interested in doing it on your own, we just want to help. Send us a text message. Lauren will send you a link. You can order it when you get it. Again, very simple, but if you want to have somebody walk you through it, we'll walk you through it. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're somebody that wants to do it and you want a little help in a personalized diet, we'll share Lauren's contact information. Feel free to text her, best thing to do, all right? She's got clients during the day, and she'll get back to you, have a quick conversation, and if it's about using the Stelo for a few weeks, figuring out where you're at and putting together a diet that's going to serve you, that doesn't require you to count calories, all right? Mm-hmm. Give her a call.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So we're going to, yeah, and we're doing this, and we're trying to make it as affordable as possible, all right? After the diet, if you're interested in the patches, we're going to have guests on that'll tell us a little bit more about the patches. All I can tell you is adhering to those 3 rules that we mentioned, I have had nothing but success, and everybody that we've worked with have had everything from, hey, it's helping a little bit, to amazing. And we'll walk you through the specifics because that's kind of what we expect.
And how they work.
Yep, and how they work and what they do for you, all right? And then finally, as you get the ability to move, fitness, if you're looking for some easy programs, we can put you to the various links in the sites that Lauren uses. She's always good at putting together my programs, or talk to you about what type of cardio or what type of work you can be doing. Truthfully, guys, I've lost 25 pounds in a week. All I do is walk. I lift maybe once a week. I did a chest workout this morning. I have a feeling that my chest is going to be calling me names tomorrow morning. All right, so I probably won't do it for a while. But I got to tell you, when I get down to that 195 that I haven't seen since sophomore year in high school, a lot of this is going to become a hell of a lot easier.
And what was your timeline that you lost the 25 pounds?
I started about a month ago, right? And in that period of time, you were there when we measured it. It's a little bit more than a month. Today's my 61st birthday. I started on a Monday, so we've got 4.5 weeks. But I haven't weighed myself since Sunday. At Sunday, I was 38 down total, 25 in this period of time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And all we did was pay attention. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this is what everybody, hopefully everybody can get something out of this. We're going to be putting them up weekly. We've had a lot of old friends that have reached out, fitness friends, and said hi. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to help you out. We're really excited about this, and I appreciate my wife and everything that she does for me.
Thanks, honey. You too.
I want to make sure that everybody gets the advantage of working with Lauren. She's an absolute joy. And here's the cool part. Lauren's been through all this stuff. She's never going to make you feel embarrassed or she has seen just, I weighed 334 pounds when I got my nose fixed the first time. Lauren was actually not my girlfriend at the time. She was my friend. And she couldn't wait to wheel me into the room they had to wheel me in because the standard scale wasn't enough. They had to put me on what looked like a fucking cattle scale while I was still on the roller. She has been through a lot. She has never judged me. And she's definitely not going to judge you. All she's going to do is give you all the love and hope that she can. So we appreciate you guys listening and see you next week.
Bye.